Coming up on the bench, Jim Boeheim and Syracuse men's basketball headed south for a massive conference matchup against Georgia Tech. See if the Orange could give themselves some breathing room on the tournament bubble.
Plus, Syracuse men's lacrosse played its first ranked opponent of the season. Albany took the throughway to Syracuse with revenge in mind. The Great Danes jumped out to an early lead, but an Orange comeback set this one up for an instant classic.
Also, SU women's basketball was in action this weekend with a massive game of their own in the Dome. We'll tell you if Coach Q and the team could get a statement win in front of a record home crowd. All that and more on the bench, so let's get rolling. Hello and welcome into another edition of On the Bench. I'm Matt Ryle.
And I'm Michael Tricarico. Matt, it's that time of year where it's still winter, but spring sports are going on while the winter ones are still finishing up. And boy, do we have a packed show.
Yeah, so many sports going on the Hill right now. And we're going to begin with men's basketball. Jim Boeheim and the team heading down to Atlanta for a big matchup against Georgia Tech. And let's see how this one turned out. The Orange needing a big victory on the NCAA tournament bubble, so trying to take this one. And early on, Tarian Thompson gets the slam. He had a big game in this, 18 points, 12 rebounds, really got things going early for Syracuse, but Georgia Tech would fight back, and it's Josh Okogie. He hits the three, it's tied at 17, about 5 minutes left in the first, but Syracuse would pull away at the end of the first here. Andrew White, he hit back-to-back threes to extend Syracuse's lead to 26-21 with 3 minutes left, and then right before half, second half action though, and Georgia Tech would start to pull away with this one. Really separated themselves in the second half. That was Quentin Stevens with a layup, and then it's Tadrick Jackson. He gets it to go, and they open up a 12-point lead, 49-37. But Syracuse trying to come back here. John Gillen with the layup from pass from Tyler Roberson. Syracuse down by 9 after that layup, trying to fight back. And it's Frank Howard. Don't see many threes from him, but he gets this one to go. And they're down by 7 with 2:36 left in this one. Final minutes, though, Josh Heath puts this game away. He scored the last 3 points for Georgia Tech, and they win 71-65 in this one. A massive loss for Syracuse on the bubble. So now the Orange have followed up their 5-game win streak with a 3-game losing streak. Tarian Thompson, as I said, a lone bright spot for the SU, putting up a big 18 points and 12 boards. But at the end of the day, SU just couldn't overcome the struggles of 2 of their big players. Tyler Lydon didn't score for the first 32 minutes of the basketball game, and he and John Gillen only contributed 7 points apiece. Meanwhile, for Georgia Tech, Ben Lammers was a force for the Yellow Jackets. The ACC's leading shot blocker had 7 rejections in this one to go with 23 points and 7 rebounds. The losses have put Jim Boeheim's team on the outside looking in when it comes to their NCAA tournament hopes. The good news is there are still games left to be played. CitrusTV's Jared Barton was in Atlanta with more.
Well, a comeback victory just wasn't in the cards tonight for Syracuse as they fall to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 71-65 here at the McCamish Pavilion. Coach Boeheim says that it was the offense that let the team down this time around.
We didn't get as good a movement against their matchup as we needed to. When we got some good looks, we missed. We got it inside to Tyler Lydon. He had 2 really good looks right around the basket. Thought he got fouled, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
They just changed up their looks, and I think it was just lack of execution on our part. We knew what we were going into. We kind of knew what to expect. They did a good job of executing, and we didn't, and that was probably the reason for our loss tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard anytime you lose, but we just got to keep our heads up, stay focused and just prepare for Duke. We know we got to get the next few games and finish out strong.
With just 3 games left in the regular season, Syracuse heads back to the Carrier Dome for a Wednesday night matchup against a Duke team that's hitting its stride at the right time. Reporting from the McCamish Pavilion in Atlanta, Jared Barton, Citrus TV.
Well, while basketball was on the road, the Carrier Dome belonged to lacrosse. Last year, SU ended Albany's season in the NCAA tournament. Revenge was fresh on the Great Danes' minds this year as the throughway rivalry brought another instant classic. 6th-ranked Syracuse hosting 12th-ranked Albany. Sergio Salcido had not scored in the first game this year. He would play a big role later on. But here's a defenseman, Troy Ray, putting the Great Danes in front 4-1. Albany led 6-1 at one point before the Orange made a comeback. Pat Carlin made it 6-3. Albany still in front, but this would help spark the Syracuse offense. The Orange would trail by 3 at the half. Eccles would have a goal, and that tied the game at 7. Syracuse had scored 6 straight goals to take a lead. It's 7-7. Syracuse down 8-7, and Sergio Salcido's goal put Syracuse in front. Then, with less than 4 to play in the fourth quarter, Connor Fields picks up his 4th assist of the game. That ties the game back at 9. Final seconds of the game. Nick Mariano, how did he get this one past the goalkeeper? Syracuse wins 10-9. Mariano's goal came with 1.6 seconds left in the game to move Syracuse to 2-0 on the season. It's the 5th one-goal game between SU and Albany. Syracuse is 15-1 all-time against the Great Danes. Sergio Salcido, his first 2 goals of the season, ended up making the difference. Nick Mariano, of course, scored the game winner. Evan Malloy made 9 saves for the Orange. He was named the ACC Defensive Player of the Week. Nick Petriccioni has more on Syracuse's comeback win against Albany.
What a thriller in a battle between college lacrosse's best teams in New York. Number 6 Syracuse defeats number 12 Albany 10-9 on a last-second shot by Nick Mariano.
Honestly, I wasn't listening in the huddle until the last 5 seconds when Coach Donahue and Coach Desko said I was just going to come off a pick. I knew what we were doing already. We've been practicing that all year, and it's an inbounds play that we run, but it was more of a set play for us now. I just caught the ball and it just went in. I didn't even know how it went in. I just saw everyone erupt, and I just jumped up in the air.
There wasn't a lot of room there, and fortunately it was a terrific feed. We might have come off the pick just a little bit early, but it was a great catch and shoot. And he snuck it inside pipe on the goaltender.
Give him credit. It was a really good shot. I thought we defended it, pretty decent. Our guy had a stick into his gloves, but he made a nice play.
Syracuse will savor this top 12 win for now, but they are preparing to face Army next week here at home. In the Carrier Dome, Nick Petriccioni, Citrus TV.
The Syracuse defense already had questions going into the 2017 season. Nick Mellon's season-ending surgery didn't help matters. The Heads now turn to one of their captains of this year's Orange team in Scott Furman. And while the senior has to take on an increased role of leadership, he also had an additional challenge coming into the 2017 campaign. Citrus TV's Christian de Guzman has more.
With Brandon Mowens and Jay McDermott leaving Central New York, the 2017 Syracuse Orange had a hole to fill in close defense. Coach John Desko decided to answer that need for SU by moving Scott Furman from long stick midfielder to close defense, a decision Desko was confident in making.
And he's played both positions in high school, so it's been a pretty easy transition.
Now, Furman is tasked with marking some of the best attackers in the nation, which forced the senior to slightly tinker with his technique.
It's just overall a different feel on the field. Attackmen tend to be a little bit quicker, while middies use their speed.
Moving to close defender is not the only thing new for Furman this season. He also now wears the number 11 jersey, which was previously worn by Brandon Mowens. And that means the senior from Fayetteville has to take on an increased role of leadership, as well as getting acquainted to his new position.
It's an honor, though. I feel like I have to come out and lead a little bit more, be more vocal, and bring the energy.
That leadership is now more important than ever with Nick Mellon out for the season, the only returning starter on close defense. But as a captain for this year's squad, Furman's teammates know that they have the right man to hold off any threats.
He's an in-your-face guy on the field. He makes sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing off the field. And he's a great leader. He's a great player, and I'm happy to be down there on the field with him for every single possession.
And now, with Furman's skills and leadership on close defense, Syracuse looks to be in prime position to make a run towards Foxborough and an 11th NCAA title. Christian de Guzman, Citrus TV.
We're going to take a break here on the bench, but we are just scratching the surface. When we come back, we'll have the highlights of Syracuse women's basketball epic game against number 7 Notre Dame, and we'll see how SU women's lacrosse did in a Saturday doubleheader against local rivals. We'll be right back.
We're going to go out there in the rain. You're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Go, okay, quick. Oh, yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Welcome back here on the bench. He's Michael Tricarico, and I'm Matt Ryle. Tricky, I have this nice little pink combo going on with my suit today. I appreciate it. But you know who else had a very nice pink combo going on this weekend?
I don't, but I assume it has something to do with uniforms.
Yes, was the women's basketball team in their Play 4K. A little bit of pink going on in their uniforms. Looked really nice. Nice gesture for them, honoring the late coach there. And they tried to keep their string of solid play going on in those uniforms on Sunday. They had a huge matchup at home against number 7 Notre Dame. The Orange headed into the game having won 5 of their last 6. And there was a record crowd on hand for this one. Over 11,000 fans showed up for this, the most in Syracuse women's basketball history. And Alexis Peterson, Brittany Sykes trying to put on a show. And early on, they do just that. Peterson gets the layup to go, 5-2 SU early in the first. And then it's Gabby Cooper. She had a big game. She made 6 threes in this one, and one of those right here, splash. 30-23, SU takes the lead in the first quarter over Notre Dame, but the Irish would fight back. They're a top 10 team for a reason. Brianna Turner gets the layup, but Brittany Sykes would do all she can. The and one for the senior. She gets it to go, and she draws the foul. SU up 38-32 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. They went up 43-35 at half. Sykes would keep things rolling in the third quarter. She gets the 3 there off the assist from Peterson, but the Irish would make this a game, and they would end up taking a lead late in this one. Brianna Turner, she gets it to go, and they would take this one 85-80. Alexis Peterson's final shot just missing there, so a heartbreaker for Syracuse as they fall 85-80. The Irish take this one. Peterson and Sykes combined for 38 points, 19 apiece, and that includes 14 assists for Alexis Peterson. So a big game from her. And of course, Gabby Cooper, one of her best games. She had 6 threes in this one. They've now lost their last 2 games against top 15 teams, and a big reason why. Brianna Turner, Marina Mayberry, too much to handle. They had a combined 53 points for Notre Dame in this game, 31 for Turner. The good news for the Orange, though, only 2 games left in the regular season before the ACC tournament starts. So a lot of games left to play. And CitrusTV women's basketball beat reporter Noah Wolf has more from the Carrier Dome.
Here's something you won't hear often. The Syracuse women's basketball team lost at home. But that's exactly what happened today when the Cuse ladies fell 85-80 to Notre Dame. Despite leading for the game's first 3 quarters, the Cuse ladies were out-rebounded 44-20, making a win ultimately impossible.
We need to do a better job of getting in front of the post and not getting buried in the paint. But secondly, we can't give them 18 offensive rebounds. You give a team like that 18 more possessions, you're not going to win that game.
When they get those offensive rebounds off a free throw or off of playing 25 to 30 seconds of defense, it puts pressure on us to play another 30, and now we're playing a whole minute versus maybe playing 18 seconds.
It's just disappointing that we get to that point and you're right there and you give a few hustle plays, a few offensive rebounds, a few team rebounds, and it really changes the tide of the game. But I think that, overall it was a good effort by our team. We just fell short.
Not to be lost in the loss, the Syracuse women drew just over 11,000 fans to the game, a new program record. Up next, the Orange return to the hardwood to take on Wake Forest on Thursday night. From the Carrier Dome, Noah Wolf, CitrusTV.
Sticking with the women, but moving to lacrosse, Gary Gates' squad played 2 New York teams on Saturday. The Orange started the day with a morning meeting against Western New York foe Canisius. The Orange is led by a trio of freshmen. One of those, Emily Harris-Chuck, she has blasted on the scene, and Harris-Chuck would get this one started early. Her first goal of the game put SU up 2-0. Moved midway through the first half, Syracuse already up 5-1, and Nina Marola would score her lone goal of the game, the assist to Taylor Gate. That's Gary Gates' daughter. Then 4 minutes left in the first half, Erica Evans would score one of her 3 goals for Canisius, the only Canisius player with multiple goals. That made it 9-3, SU still in front. The Orange led by 7 at the half. Then in the second half, Emily Harris-Chuck again. The assist to Nicole Levy. She's known for scoring goals, but she had 3 assists. SU would continue as Devin Parker put this one home. 18-6 the final score as SU improved to 2-0 with 1 game left in the day.
Yep, and game number 2 against a team just an hour away in Binghamton. So Syracuse trying to make it a sweep on the day, and early on they would go up big. This was Taylor Gate. She put SU up 5-0 in the first half. Binghamton, they'd get their first goal of the game here. Kalad Williams. SU still up 6-1 though in the first half. And then here SU goes up 7-1. Although this was a very nice save by goalie Goldstock. Halftime, SU up 9-2, and they'd run away with this even more in the second half. Nina Marola, she gets the goal, putting SU up 10-2, and the Orange dominated this one from start to finish. Second half action, Binghamton gets a goal, but Syracuse was just too much as they win this one 16-5. Tricky. And look at that. There's 2 dominating performances, Michael.
Yeah, Syracuse outshot Canisius 41-12 in game 1, outshot Binghamton 38-19, and I think if you get more shots than the other team more times than not, you're going to score more goals. And after losing Kayla Traynor and Hallie Majorana from last year's Orange attack, Syracuse really seemingly hasn't missed a beat, and Emily Harris-Chuck is one reason for that. She leads SU this season with 8 goals.
Yeah, definitely a lot of new players coming and stepping up big for this team, but our own Hallie Heath has more on these 2 games.
Syracuse dominated both of its games today in its doubleheader here in the Carrier Dome. The first game defeating Canisius 18-6, and in the second game taking down Binghamton 16-5. The Orange started off with a strong offensive attack in both games, but the power wore off as the night went on.
We definitely were a little tired. Obviously, I think you could tell at the end, we were kind of making some turnovers that we wouldn't normally make. But I think it's a great opportunity just to test our endurance and really prove that we can push ourselves so hard.
This is a great opportunity here. When you're up by 7, 8, 9 goals, you're going to let your other players play and get some game experience. And that's kind of why we do these double headers, is to get everybody in the game, let everybody play.
So it's just a good opportunity to play 2 different teams, 2 different styles, get some more lacrosse under our belt.
Overall, it was a good day for the Orange, who came out with 2 wins in their doubleheader. They look forward to their game in the Dome next week against UMass Amherst. From a doubleheader in the Dome, Allie Heath, CitrusTV.
Time for another quick stoppage, but up next, the SU ladies ice hockey team had a big home and away series this weekend. We'll show you if the Orange can pick up some big wins as the regular season wraps up. OTB rolls on.
Got a quarter?
superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
We are back here on the bench, Matt Ryle, Michael Tricarica, and it's time to move to the ice. Syracuse women's ice hockey had a home and away series this weekend against RIT. The Orange's season is winding down, and Paul Flanagan's squad was looking for some big wins heading into the postseason, and Game 1 was down in Rochester. And Syracuse took it by a final of 5-2. 5 different Orange scored in this one. SU got out to a 2-1 lead thanks to goals from Jessica Sibley and Alicia Burris, and they never looked back. They scored 3 straight goals in the span between the first and third period, and Abby Miller, another solid game, only had to make 9 saves, but Michael, she had been even better in game number 2, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, Matt, and Syracuse at home for the final time this season, trying to sweep the doubleheader. It's senior day for the Orange, and SU got started early in this one, just 7 minutes into the first period. Jessica Sibley will deflect this shot into the goal, and Syracuse took the 1-0 lead. The Orange never looked back. There was a scoring chance for the Orange with 5.5 minutes left in the second period. A big save here kept it just a 1-score game, but really Abby Miller was so good in net that the 1 goal was all SU needed. Abby Miller continuing to make saves. She gets her 9th shutout of the season. That is a program record, as Syracuse outshot RIT 34-8 to take the 2-0 advantage and end their conference record at 12-4-2 for the season. That clinches the Orange a first-round bye in the College Hockey America Tournament. Again, Abby Miller with 9 saves on the season. That breaks the single-season Orange record for most shutouts in a season. Our own Luke McGrath has more.
The women's ice hockey team swept its weekend home-and-home series with RIT defeating the Tigers 5-2 on Friday and 2-0 on Saturday. Saturday's win was senior day for the Orange, and senior captain Jessica Sibley scored the game-winning goal for SU, which clinched a first-round bye in the CHA tournament for SU. In Saturday's win, junior goaltender Abby Miller recorded her 7th shutout of the season, setting a school record. The Orange play their final series of the season this weekend when they travel to take on Penn State before the CHA tournament in Buffalo the following weekend. Luke McGrath, Citrus TV.
From the ice to the tennis court, where Syracuse was home this weekend for the first time this season with 2 big-time matchups. The first one, they faced Buffalo on Saturday, and they would take this one 6-1, starting off their home season hot. SU claimed the doubles point by taking 2 of the 3 doubles matchups. They took control in singles play, winning 5 of 6 matchups to give them a victory. Although their luck changed against Brown, as they were on the opposite end of a 6-1 score. And as you can see, Miranda Ramirez, the only one picking up a point for Orange in this one. So, good day followed by a bad day. But Syracuse, first couple games at home, successful weekend for the ladies. Now let's go to our own Brittany Elridge, who has more.
Syracuse University split the weekend with 1 win and 1 loss. Saturday afternoon, Syracuse beat Buffalo with a score of 6-1. But this afternoon, Syracuse lost to Brown University 1-6. Coach Eunice Lamam does not believe that back-to-back games was the reason for the loss.
I don't think it was a factor. I thought we did a great job in the doubles. We were very close from getting that doubles point, and the momentum kind of went away from us. And credit to Brown. I thought they were tough and played very well in the big moments. And our team also fought back. We just came up a little bit short.
It's just the overall motivation from the team. I think that we feed off of each other and we always find energy when we need it. So even though it's maybe tough physically, we're always there mentally. We always want to play. We love to play in the home games, so it's just really fun.
The Orange's next match is February 26th against Boston College. Reporting from Jumberland's Country Club, this is Brittany Ehrlich, Citrus TV.
It may be snowing in Syracuse, but the SU softball team flew to Florida to escape the cold. The Orange competed in the FAU tournament in Boca Raton. It was a successful outing for the Orange. SU went 3-1 in the tournament and outscored opponents 17-4. Sydney O'Hara picked up her 9th career save during the tournament. The 9 saves puts the Cicero, New York native atop the record books for most career saves. After 9 games, Bryce Holmgren leads the Orange with a .500 batting average, 7 RBIs, and 4 extra base hits.
And now, as spring sports begin, winter sports are beginning to end here on the Hill, starting with SU Indoor Track and Field that finished their season over the weekend in the Mark Denault Invitational. A few notable results were victories by Freddie Crittenden, Winston Lee, Adam Visoke, and Justice Richardson in the respective events. Next, the Syracuse men will look to defend its ACC championship, and the women will look for another strong showing at the ACC Indoor Track and Field Championship at Notre Dame. And it's time for our final break here on the bench. When we come back, we'll have our top performers of the week, and we'll take a look at what's ahead. Just about to close up. Stay with us.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back here on the bench. Michael Tricarico, Matt Ryle. As you mentioned, a lot of sports going on right now as it's a cross between winter and spring. So a lot of big performances. Who's your top performer?
My top performer has to be Emily Harris-Chuck from the women's lacrosse team. Here's a player who Syracuse's attack lost 2 of their best players of all time. And Emily Harris-Chuck is a freshman. If you're starting on attack on the SU women's lacrosse team, you must be pretty darn good. 4 goals this weekend for Harris-Chuck in the Orange's doubleheader. You want to talk efficiency. Harris-Chuck has 8 goals on 12 shots this season. The freshman is taking the Orange and taking the country by storm.
Yeah, a little unknown name there. I like it. I'm going to have to go with maybe not somebody who would pick from that Syracuse lacrosse game against Albany, but I'm going to go with Sergio Salcido. A lot of people would have picked Nick Mariano because he had that game winner, but Salcido is the reason they were in it. He had 2 goals and 2 assists, and both his goals came in the 4th quarter, really giving Mariano a chance to win it at the end. He played phenomenally and really stepped up. You mentioned he didn't score in the first game, and they needed him to step up in this one, and he stepped up big time, Michael.
He really did.
Yeah, and that'll do it here on this week's edition of On the Bench. I'm Matt Ryle.
And I'm Michael Tricarico. Thanks so much for tuning in to On the Bench. Now, let's take a look at our images of the week.